Chester Bennington was an influential icon whose distinctive and powerful voice inspired millions of fans around the world. His lasting legacy carves an unforgettable path accompanied by timeless anthems that have left an indelible mark on the music industry. However, his untimely death on July 20th, 2017 shocked the world and raised questions about the darkness he battled behind the scenes. From his childhood struggles with abuse, trauma, and addiction, to rising up as the iconic frontman of Linkin Park, winning numerous awards, and contributing to the best-selling album of the 21st century, Chester's legacy is both uplifting and heart-wrenching. Beneath the surface of his success lies a much darker story, one of childhood trauma and severe addiction that continued to haunt him throughout his life. Chester Charles Bennington, born on March 20th, 1976 in Phoenix, Arizona, had a childhood marked by challenges and struggles that would later shape his life and career. His early years were characterized by various difficulties. From the ages of 7 to 13, he endured a profoundly traumatic experience that left him struggling with feelings of shame, confusion, and vulnerability. He was a victim of SA by an older friend when he was 7 years old, an experience he would later shed light on in interviews. I started getting M when I was about 7 or 8. It was by a friend who was a few years older than me. It escalated from a touchy, curious, what does this thing do, into full-on crazy violations. I was getting beaten up and being forced to do things I didn't want to do. It destroyed my self-confidence. Like most people, I was too afraid to say anything. I didn't want people to think I was gay or that I was lying. It was a horrible experience. The SA continued until I was 13. These early traumas undoubtedly left scars on Chester's psyche, influencing his music and the themes he would explore in his lyrics. Tragically, the challenges extended to his home life as well. He was the third of 4 children in his family. His mother, Susan, worked as a nurse, while his father, Lee, held the role of a detective. When Chester was 11 years old, his parents divorced, a pivotal event that had a profound impact on him. The divorce left him feeling isolated and trapped in darkness as he had to navigate the complexities of a broken family dynamic. It was an awful time. I hated everybody in my family. I felt abandoned by my mom, my dad was not very emotionally stable then, and there was no one I could turn to. At least that's how my young mind felt. The only thing I wanted to do was end everybody and run away. At the young age of 11, Chester turned to drugs and alcohol as a way to escape from his pain and find solace. I was on 11 hits of acid a day. I dropped so much acid, I'm surprised I can still speak. I'd smoke a bunch of crack, do a bit of meth, and just sit there and freak out. Then I'd smoke opium to calm down. I weighed 110 pounds. My mom said I looked like I stepped out of Auschwitz, so I used pot to get off drugs. His substance abuse issues escalated, leading him down a dangerous path. I took everything. I got really, really bad. Until I was 16, I was doing a ton of LSD and a lot of drinking. I was doing bong hits of meth. It was ridiculous. Then we'd smoke opium to come down, or we'd take pills, or I'd drink so much that I'd ess my pants. It was not pretty. Chester attended Ironwood High School, where he didn't fit in and endured physical bullying during his school years. He said, "I was knocked around like a ragdoll at school for being skinny and looking different." Despite the challenges he faced, Chester was drawn to music from a young age and found solace in bands like Depeche Mode and Stone Temple Pilots. Singing and writing lyrics became his refuge, providing a canvas for him to channel his pain, express his feelings, and connect with the world beyond his struggles. Chester Bennington's musical aspirations took root with the band Sean Dowdell and his friends, who released a 3-track cassette in 1993. Transitioning to New Horizons, Chester and Dowdell formed Grey Days, a post-grunge band that would become a significant chapter in Chester's musical journey. Before starting his full-time career as a professional musician, Chester worked at a local Burger King and held various jobs. In 1996, he married his first wife, Samantha Ollett, with whom he had a son, Draven. Chester's path took a monumental turn on March 20th, 1999, when he received a life-changing offer from Jeff Ballou, the vice president of A&R at Zomba Music in Los Angeles. He left behind his day job in Arizona, venturing to California to audition for Linkin Park, then known as Zero. In a twist of fate, he even left his own 23rd birthday party early to record his audition in just a single day. Frustrated and on the brink of abandoning his musical dreams, Chester seized the opportunity and embarked on a journey that would redefine the music industry forever, with the birth of Linkin Park. After Chester's arrival, the band decided to change their name to Hybrid Theory to reflect their innovative style of nu metal that fused rock, hip-hop, and atmospheric electronic elements. They released Hybrid Theory EP in 1999, marking their first official release with Chester. Hybrid Theory's path to success was far from easy. Warner Brothers rejected the band 3 times before finally signing them in 1999. This persistence paid off, leading to their renaming as Linkin Park, inspired by a park in Santa Monica. With their deal in place, the band began working on their groundbreaking debut full-length album, Hybrid Theory. In the year 2000, Chester catapulted to rockstar fame as Hybrid Theory stormed the charts. Released on October 24, 2000, Hybrid Theory was a massive success, with chart-topping singles like One Step Closer, In the End, and Crawling. As the band embarked on a worldwide tour, accolades followed suit, with 2 Grammy wins and multiple VMA awards. Hybrid Theory would go on to become not only the best-selling album of the year, but also retain its distinction as the best-selling album of the 21st century with over 30 million copies sold worldwide. Forged in the crucible of his own past traumas, Chester's lyrical prowess turned pain into poetic expression. Chester gave life to some of the most powerful lyrics that resonate with millions around the world. He once shared this about Crawling. I have been able to tap into all the negative things that can happen to me throughout my life by numbing myself to the pain, so to speak, and kind of being able to vent it through my music. Crawling, for example, by Linkin Park, is probably the most literal song lyrically I'd ever written for Linkin Park, and that's about feeling like I had no control over myself in terms of drugs and alcohol. Linkin Park embarked on a journey that led to the creation of their sophomore masterpiece Meteora, released in 2003. This album not only showcased the band's growth, but also solidified their position as an influential force in the music industry. From emotionally charged chart toppers like Numb and Breaking the Habit, to the heavier visceral tracks such as Don't Stay and Hit the Floor, Meteora crafted a collection of anthems for an entire generation. As their second album, Meteora, solidified their position as megastars, Chester found himself entangled in a crumbling marriage, battling alcoholism, and grappling with the resurgence of his inner darkness. I wasn't leaving my house. I would shack up in my closet in the dark and shake all day. I would wake up and have a pint of Jack Daniels to calm down. Then I'd pop a bunch of pills and go back in my closet and effing freak out. I was a mess. I was falling through windows, having seizures, and going to hospital the whole time. It was a pretty miserable experience. I had achieved my lifelong dream, and I was still not happy. I wasn't at peace. In 2005, he made the difficult decision to end his marriage with his first wife, Samantha Olive. In 2006, Chester found love once again and married to Linda Ann Bentley. In the mid-2000s, Chester Bennington's life underwent a transformative phase. Struggling with addiction for years, he reached a critical turning point and decided to confront his demons by embarking on a journey towards sobriety. Eventually, I just gave in. I had to give up and ask for help. If I had tried to do it on my own, I wouldn't have made it, but everybody came to my rescue. It wasn't until 2006, when I had a choice between stopping drinking or dying, that I did some counseling with the guys, and they really opened up and told me how they felt. I had no idea that I had been such a nightmare. I knew that I had a drinking problem, a drug problem, and that parts of my personal life were crazy, but I didn't realize how much that was affecting the people around me until I got a good dose of, here's what you're really like. It was a shock. They said that I was 2 people, Chester and then that effing guy. I didn't want to be that guy. While crafting songs for Linkin Park's third album, Minutes to Midnight, Chester formed a new band in 2005 called Dead by Sunrise. This fresh project showcased a different musical dimension from his work with Linkin Park. In 2006, Chester stepped into the world of acting, appearing in films including Crank, Saw 3D, and Crank High Voltage. Chester's journey took an unexpected turn when he joined Stone Temple Pilots as their lead vocalist. Having been a devoted fan of Stone Temple Pilots since his childhood, Chester saw his long-held dream materialize when he replaced Scott Weiland as the vocalist in 2013. Beyond his musical accomplishments, Chester Bennington's legacy extended to his philanthropic endeavors. He was a passionate advocate for various charitable causes, utilizing his platform to make a positive impact on the world. Through Linkin Park's Music for Relief Foundation, he championed charitable causes to support victims of natural disasters, like Hurricane Sandy and the Japan tsunami. Beyond fundraising, Chester personally engaged in humanitarian efforts, performing benefit concerts, and even contributing to post-Hurricane Katrina cleanup efforts. Moreover, his impact extended to the Music Cares Mat Fund, which he passionately supported. Established by the Recording Academy, this fund provided crucial aid to musicians and music industry professionals facing addiction and substance abuse issues. In recognition of his dedication, Chester was honored in 2013 with the Stevie Ray Vaughan Award, which acknowledged his profound contribution to aiding those on the path to recovery. In the final chapter of Chester Bennington's life, the year preceding his passing was fraught with a series of deeply challenging experiences that culminated in tragedy. Just 5 months before he took his own life, Chester spoke about his complex battle with depression in a February 2017 interview. During that same period, Linkin Park released the single Heavy, which seemed to offer a glimpse into the turbulent state of Chester's mind just before he left the world. Chester revealed the inspiration for the Heavy lyrics. I know that for me, when I'm inside myself, when I'm in my own head, it gets this place right here, this skull between my ears, that is a bad neighborhood, and I should not be in there alone. There's another Chester in there that wants to take me down. And I find that it could be whether it's substances or whether it's behavior or whether it's depressive stuff or whatever it is, if I'm not actively getting out of myself and being with other people, like being a dad, being a husband, being a bandmate, being a friend, helping someone out, if I'm out of myself, I'm great. If I'm inside all the time, I'm horrible. I'm a mess. And so for me, that was kind of where I don't like my mind right now, stacking up problems that are so unnecessary. That was where that came from for me. The last few months of Chester's life were impacted by a series of struggles that cast a shadow over his inner world. Chester was privately grappling with a marriage that was undergoing considerable strain. Furthermore, the public reception of Linkin Park's album One More Light introduced a new layer of turmoil. The shift in musical style that the album represented led to a polarizing response from fans with widespread negative backlash. The heart-wrenching loss of his dear friend and fellow musician Chris Cornell, who tragically passed away on March 18, 2017, cast an even darker shadow over Chester's year. Just as Chester had, Cornell battled years of depression and addiction, and their parallel struggles served as the foundation that bound them together. Just 2 months after the loss of his friend Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington's life came to a sudden and heartbreaking end. It was on the morning of July 20th, 2017, incidentally what would have been Cornell's 53rd birthday, that the world woke to the shattering news. Chester had tragically taken his own life in his Los Angeles home. Though Chester Bennington's time with us was tragically cut short, his legacy remains a shining beacon. Across more than 2 decades of musical contributions, he bestowed something eternal, a piece of his very soul woven into the fabric of his melodies. Through his visceral screams and angelic vocals, his art will be etched in the hearts of millions of fans forever. He turned pain into passion and emerged as the voice of a generation. I just need to get personal for you here, because I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that Chester Bennington and Linkin Park brought light to my darkest days and had a significant impact on my entire life. When I was a child, I remember first seeing the video for One Step Closer on MTV2 in October of 2000. I was instantly hooked by every element. Chester's screams, the DJ scratches, the rapping, and the heavy riffs. From that day forward, I was absolutely obsessed, and Linkin Park became my favorite band of all time. Now before I sign off, I want to leave you with some inspiration for your day with a couple of positive takeaways from Chester's legacy. The first takeaway is that regardless of what struggles you are facing or what traumas you have endured, you too can find that light in the darkness. We have the ability to transform our pain into art and create a fulfilling life that helps countless lives. Now, the second takeaway I will leave you with is a powerful lyric from Linkin Park's song, The Messenger. I will let the lyric speak for itself. When life leaves us blind, love keeps us kind. Thank you for everything, Chester Bennington.